they'll be calling you a radical. So important. I went and had a really long conversation with both my grandsons today. I think it's important that everybody does. I mean, because the political fucking theater and the political fucking whack job, how did they do it? One by Jetstream, two by cable TV, to the point that a young person almost assassinates the United States president. I mean, how the fuck that? I mean, whoa. So the motive, I don't think it's political. I really do not think it's one iota political. But everybody in this country thinks everything's political. Everything's so divided. So I made sure that I think it's important to have a conversation with your young people right now. It's really important to have a conversation with your young people. The motivation, what was the motivation? Well, the more I read about this, and it looks like to me, this is a young guy who was bullied, marginalized, intelligent, smart. Obviously some mental issues, that weren't showing up, of course. Anybody that do this, but he was I didn't even know this, that in Pennsylvania, high schools have rifle teams. What? Yeah, they have rifle teams. Was he into guns? Well, obviously, look at the shirt that he had on. He's obviously into guns. Was the father into guns? Well, the father bought it, obviously. The whole gun culture, whoa. He got cut off the rifle team. The one kid that was interviewed by CBS says that, well, he wasn't even good enough to make the the junior varsity rifle team. I didn't even know they had such a thing. So I think that's what it was. You think about the Adam Sandler movie. Remember when he's marking off the things, he's got the lipstick on? His name's on, he says, got it. I think that's what was it. I really do. I don't think it was politically motivated at all. Not one iota. I think when he saw he was coming to his area, it was his chance to show, well, oh yeah, you cut me off the fucking rifle team, watch this. I think that's exactly what it was. And if you think that thesis is crazy, you don't know much about most politicians. Most psychologies have shown that most politicians, narcissists, are trying to overcompensate for things that they were marginalized for, whether it be the opposite sex, whether it be, there's study after study that proves this with politicians. There's something wrong with so many of these people, and it comes from, in their youth, it's some type of rejection. I think that's exactly what this motivation. But everybody in this country's got everything fucking spun out to be fucking political. So I made sure I went and fucking talked to him. My dad was nuked to death in a battle test site, drafted Marine. Their grandpa on the other side was in Hell's Kitchen in fucking Korea. 2 tours. My uncle raised me right there, who was on Omaha Beach in the battle boats. My other uncle, who they knew, Claude, really well, the famous guy. I had conversations, long conversations with him. I grew up right here with my uncle that was in battle boats. They hated gun violence. They hated war. And it doesn't mean they weren't gun owners. They were. Those days of owning your 30-30 and or your shotgun to go hunting, they're gone. That was a gone by era. Rifle team in fucking high school. He got cut from the rifle fucking team in high school. Kid says he wasn't even good enough to make the junior, and I'm sure this same kid probably told him that. You weren't even good enough. You don't think? They said he was a loner. Said that he liked history, like he probably understood. I think he was trying to brand himself in history. And the whole political fucking scene is so fucked up. It's really that fucked up in this fucking country. It's actually fucking sickening. How did they do it? 1 by Jetstream, 2 by cable TV. Fuck. I don't think, and I made sure I talked to him about politics, and we had a conversation about left, right, And we had conversations about presidents. I told them both the same thing. And separately, I went to both their houses. I made a point of doing this today. The 13 years old, I says, you know, you're 5 years away from being legally drafted. This fucking world is on the verge of fucking World War III. It's on the fucking brink. You know, we can't have this happen. You know, and we had conversations about it. You know, I think they're getting old enough. They need to read, and everybody needs to read East of Eden. You know, the end of that. When I remember Aunt, girl that I dated and hung around with when I was young in high school, whatever, kind of blah, blah, blah. Her son was killed, one of the first ones in Iraq, Afghanistan. She knew I was the peace activist. She knew whatever. She called me. I says, I gave her a copy of East of Eden. First word I said to her was TIMSHEL. That's Lee the philosopher. TIMSHEL's out of the Old Testament. Thou mayest. People are responsible for their actions. In the end of that book, the two twins, good son, bad son, I can relate the way I got viewed. I just like the Soulsley that was the bad son was really, that's exactly how I lived. I was trading cattle futures, girl. I mean, the wild one, the good one, joins World War One and gets killed. Of course, Adam's blaming himself and the TIMSHEL. But really, men are responsible. Young men aren't capable until they're 27 years old. I mean, we put this pressure, oh, you're an adult at 18. No, they're not. The brain isn't mature till 27 years old. Fucking, this is so fucking lucky. Teflon Don dodges a fucking, I mean, it's a miracle. I've been thinking a lot about its living infamy. If he wouldn't have turned his head and went through his ear and got him, it would have been total anarchy in this fucking country. It would have been, I go back to when Black Hand shoot Joseph with the Browning gun, World War One. These triggers that caused these fucking epic worldwide fucking wars. I think it would have been one. I really do. I think it would have cascaded. It would have fucking. I think there'd been riots. I think people would have been burning shit down. It's not. I don't think it's political. I don't think it had. I mean, the gun thing. Obviously, look at the shirt he had on. And you know, I grew up with guns. I grew up with my 30-30, my grandpa's, and my Remington 12 gauge shotgun. You know, and wasn't really into killing the animals so much. I mean, I used to like pheasant hunt, but I get it all. But that was a long, long fucking time ago. You know, and I'm against fucking assault rifles. I just don't see, but whatever. They're out there, they're whatever. It's the political fucking theater, it's the political spin. So I talked to him and I said, listen, in your lifetime, both of you, lots of presidents are going to come. You know how many presidents have been in my life? I was born when, in 1960. You know, I was born when Eisenhower was still president. You know, Kennedy was assassinated. You know, we talked about Bobby Kennedy's assassination. I still remember it like yesterday. You know, Saran, that whole thing on the Middle East of I mean, I could get into that big time. But you know, all these presidential assassination attempts that went on forever. I talked to him about all the presidential assassinations. It wasn't just Lincoln. It just wasn't just Kennedy. They don't talk about McKinley. We don't talk about Garfield, who were both assassinated. All the attempts. Eisenhower was even attempted. Roosevelt's, both of them attempted. Almost every single president there's been attempted, you know, up to Reagan, and then they put the circle around them and thing. Now, look, as far as what happened to the Secret Service, they got fucking lazy. They got lackadaisical. Hadn't been assassination attempts since fucking 1981. They got fucking human nature. They got lazy. You know, yeah, whatever. It's exactly what happened. You know, it's kind of like we hadn't had hijacking for so long on 9/11 when we had all those hijackings through the 60s and 70s. I mean, every other day. Hadn't had one. Dropped our defenses. It's a miracle he wasn't killed. So I says, listen, you do know presidents don't have incredible power like they lead you to believe. Congress holds all the power. Presidents have very, very little power. Even the hyperbole spin the Supreme Court's given, no, they didn't. I read the Supreme Court fucking exactly what they said. They said he has immunity under the freaking rules of the Constitution, under his powers under the Constitution. Well, that's very limited under the Constitution. Presidential powers are very limited under it. Congress holds all the fucking power. He has veto power, but they can override the veto. Just like Bryce Anderson just got fucking passed. No nukes, burning them. But it would have mattered if he vetoed it, Biden? No, because they have 2/3 majority voted for it. People don't even know what it is, whatever, because they're caught up in these, social issues. And, the whole gun violence is a fucking nightmare in this fucking country. People need to come out of fucking denial. But was this politically motivated? I don't think so. And do I think that's what it was? Yeah. I think he saw he was coming to his fucking town. He's living at mom and dad's house. He's walking to work at the rest home, working in the kitchen, whatever. Saran was in the kitchen, wasn't he? But that's a whole different thing. We know what that was, where he was from, his lines, whatever. You can deny that, but that's exactly what that was. And, were there other shooters? Could be, probably, but this one, Secret Service got fucking, let their guard down. They're human. So, and this whole heroism. So he died. I'm so sick of the fucking heroism. This should be a giant wake up call. And I am so thankful. I was so relieved, almost started to cry last night when I found out that he wasn't fucking that far. Can you imagine? He turns his fucking head. I mean, this is more dramatic than even when Teddy got shot made up his speech in his eyeglass gang. Finishes. This is an AR. This is a fucking assault rifle. That's what they stand for. Whoa. You know what it would have done to that? It had been on camera. If he would have just turned that way, you know what it would. You think about the graphic of that. You ever shot an AR? Go fucking shoot one. Put out a watermelon and shoot it. See what it does. He wasn't that far away. Holy fuck. I'm so fucking thankful. I am so thankful. I don't know what powers there be, what God you pray to, whatever, that he turned his head and it went through his ear. I hope it wakes fucking Teflon Don, but I fucking doubt it. And the political pundit sure the fucking ain't. Because the political branding of this fucking baby boomer is so fucking deep. It is fucking hideous. I mean, really hideous. So I think everyone needs to have a conversation with their fucking children. I mean, the school shootings, the fucking nightmare. The kids live in these schools now, they're going lockdown. You know, it's enough. Enough's enough of this fucking madness. Do I think this was politically motivated? Absolutely not. He's a registered Republican. His mom, Democrat. I think he was pretty fucking level-headed when it comes politically, but he was into the gun culture. Look at the shirt he had on, which that whole fucking culture is twisted. He had the gun. He got there, and I really think that's what it was all about. I think it was, oh yeah, you cut me from the rifle team, which was wasn't a basketball player, he wasn't a football player, he wasn't a tennis player, he wasn't a basketball player, he wasn't a popular kid, and anything, and he probably had a lot of strength in his mind, and he felt incredibly fucking slighted and incredibly marginalized. I think that's exactly what it was, and he says, oh yeah. And the one girl said he was a student of history, he knew his shit. He knew who Lee Harvey was, he knew all these fucking people were, he knew who James Wilkes Booth was. He's like, oh yeah, you cut me off the fucking rifle team? The kid says he couldn't even make the JV team. Oh yeah? Watch this. Watch it. I think that's exactly what it was. And I made sure I had conversations about this radical political theater that we live in and how dangerous it is and how fucked up it is. And we had long conversations what led up to World War One. What led up to World War Two. This type of fucking political rhetoric is fucking bullshit. I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden because I'm an anti-nuker. And really, in fucking theory, in principle, in practice, there's really no difference between the two, hardly any. Same with Obama. Same with Bush. They're warmongers. They're pro fucking nukers. They don't fucking call the shots. They don't. Congress does. If you don't like what's going on and you think it's fucked up, go vote your congressman out. Good luck. They gerrymander the districts. You can blame network television and the fucking powers there fucking be. What they've social engineered is fucking disgraceful what they've done to our youth. I'm so thankful that our youth didn't get to see his head completely blown to smithereens. Thank God. Can you imagine? I mean, that far from anarchy. Fuck. What a nightmare this country's turned out to be. You know? Learn how to love and forget how to fucking hate. You know? I fight intensely. I'm a pretty famous activist. I was. You know, marginalize me. I'm pretty intense and I'm pretty fucking radical. Pretty fucking strong. But I sure the fuck don't believe in violence. And I'll tell you, I told them both this. Do you know why violence doesn't work? You get mad at your friend or mad at fucking your so-called enemy that's social engineered. You know, this is where gang violence is where all comes in from. Because I'll tell you what, for every action, there's a reaction. For every yin, there's a yang. Fucking for every piece of violence, the reaction is always bigger than the action. Look at, and I explained 9/11. 3,300 people were killed that fucking day. What a fucking nightmare. The reaction, Afghanistan and Iraq, 2 million people alone in Iraq. And Iraq didn't have it. The action is always worse than reaction. Look in the Middle East of Eden. Violence never works. Violence fucking creates more violence. And if this would have freaking got him, you would have seen violence perpetuate fucking so radical in this country. I think it would have led to fucking thousands, if not millions, of fucking, well, probably world wars. I mean, that's how this works. That's how these events trigger. Fucking let this be a fucking wake up call to everybody. Talk about dodge a fucking bullet, literally. Say, hey, no more. No more. You know, your political views are your political views. But why don't fucking, you know, J.D. Vance, that fucking guy, you know, Weber State gives him an award up there. It's fucking, me and Mike's going to have it out tomorrow. So, Governor Cox. I'm going to call Governor Cox. I'm going to talk to him about this. Say, you give this guy, and he makes this kind of rhetoric and fucking statement, and this guy's possibly could be the vice president of the fucking United States. I mean, one bullet away from being president? Fuck. We're going to have people like that? I don't think so. We need diplomacy in the White House. We need fucking logic. We need rational fucking thinking. We need people that can calm and fucking think things out before they do. And Congress, come on. Fucking lay down your flags, lay down your fucking weapons. Put me in, coach. Round out there, buddy. I get 3 innings. So I think it's a perfect time to have a conversation with your grandchildren, with your kids. I made sure they're both incredible. They're amazing young men. My granddaughters also, you know, and they're in families that, you know, thank God, are not really left or right indoctrinated. And they know I'm not. You know, I don't like either party. But it's the breath of the people. So, good time to have a conversation with your children. And his motive, I think that was it. I honestly do. I honestly think that was the motive. It wasn't conspiracy. As bad as everybody wants to turn this into something. And I think historically it's a turning point. That far from pure anarchy. If that he wouldn't have turned his head, if that far, if Trump wouldn't have turned his head, and I don't like Trump. I mean, there's some things I like about Trump. I'm a pro-tariff guy, but I don't like a lot of his saying. Well, his cover up of Fukushima. I don't like Biden, his cover up of Fukushima. I don't like Obama Dumber, his cover up of Fukushima. I really didn't like fucking. Oh God, don't get me on fucking W. You know, but presidents hold very little power. And I really think the entire motivation was being cut from the fucking rifle team. And I had no idea they even had. I mean, I remember playing sports when I was younger. I still see it, you know, because I played rec sports for years and just fun and whatever as a runner. And I would go play basketball or baseball with these guys that thought they were the high school superstar when they weren't. And, you know, I coached a lot of youth athletics for years and years. And I see the overcompensation kids, the kids that, you know, were a little bit, well, coaches are assholes. And, you know, they slide them. I really don't like the whole thing of cutting kids, you know, but that's the creepy world we live in. And I watched him as I got older overcompensate in a radical fucking crazy way. I think he saw he was coming here and he was going to show the world, oh yeah, you cut me off the fucking rifle team. You marginalized me. I got no friends, you know, whatever. And I think he was, I think he was a socially wounded fucking dude. And he was like, he was going to show the fucking world. Immature as fuck. Oh, fuck. He's 20 years old. Immature. Can't take it back now. But thank God. And it killed a guy. He murdered a guy. He shot a guy right in the fuck and dropped him. Should be a very fucking big wake up fucking call for all the youth in this country. Need to, people, do you have erectile? Think about this. How many of you have had your grandchildren or children come to you and say, Grandpa, Grandma, Mom, Dad, what's ED? That's all I hear. Fuck, the network televisions have so much fucking, it's disgusting. So I think it's a, incredible, fuck, we got lucky. Fuck, not just Trump got lucky, the fucking nation, the world got lucky. 1 in a million Teflon Don. Teflon literally dodges a bullet through it. That far to fucking total anarchy. Really, that fucking far of completely changing the world. I hope fucking Trump and the RNC and the DNC can fucking calm the rhetoric. Teddy was shot in Milwaukee. It was October 14th, not July 14th. But in the speech, I think, it's a time to say, hey, this is politics. This is politics. Don't you see these guys are political theater? You need to have a conversation with all of them. This fucking bloodbath that we've lived in this fucking century, this fucking, my God, needs to fucking end. Stay tuned.